In this week's brand new episode of Hill Climb Monsters in Project Cars 2, we're breaking out the Ballistic Bunny as the Toyota GT86 Rocket Bunny Edition takes on our Azure Coast Hill Climb course. Can this turbocharged Toyota spring a surprise or two? Let's find out. What's going on, guys? My name is Batilio and welcome back to Project Cars 2 and a brand new episode of Hill Climb Monsters. And this week's challenger, as you can see on screen, is this, the Toyota GT86 Rocket Bunny Edition, and this is the GT4 version rather than the road version. And the reason I decided to go for this was, well, someone left a comment on my Ferrari F50 Hill Climb Monsters episode video, and the comment's on screen now. Creative suggestion guy. I don't want to see the world burn. That's a lie, because if you saw his last suggestion in the Astra video, you'll know he does. But maybe a street car, a street tuned car, for example, the GT86 with a massive turbo, or maybe the 288 GTO. Now, I will state for the record right now, in this game and in this series in particular, I have zero interest in road cars. None at all. But it did sow the seed with the GT86 because my video where I had the GT86 in the first Project Cars, when I did the DLC showcase, did very well, and I loved the noise of it. It's very nice, and it was a pretty nice car to drive. I don't know, it's a bit down the lower end of the GT4 category, but I enjoyed driving it. So yeah, that's the reason I decided to go for this. Take a look at some of the stats as you go on the screen now. So it was produced in 2015. It has a 6-speed H-pattern shifter and a flat 4 engine, which I believe is a boxer engine. I don't know if all flat 4s are boxer engines or whatever. I'm not an engineer, but that flat 4 engine is producing 365 brake horsepower, which is good enough to power this thing to 172 miles an hour, provided you have a road straight enough and long enough, and a 0 to 60 time of just under 5 seconds. And unlike other cars, this one does actually have some features, because normally they don't have any, but this has ABS and traction control, so this will sort of be a very luxury drive, I feel, if you can call it that. It is rear-wheel drive, of course. It is turbocharged, and the weight is coming in at just over 2,500 pounds. It's not the lightest, but it's not the heaviest car we've had either. In terms of practice and setup, it wasn't too bad. The big problem I had was the rear end getting very unstable under braking, especially downhill braking. The big area I had problems with, and I have loads of problems in this area for various different reasons, but it was down towards the Magic Roundabout. Because the braking's only just slightly downhill, the back end would go very light, and you can see in this accident here, I tried to correct, but then it kind of caught itself, and I went straight into the bollards, straight over the island, and pretty much just was left with a very big repair job. But yeah, so that was the big problem I had. So I tweaked the rear suspension. I think I lowered it. I tightened up the rear torsion or roll bar, depending on what you want to call it. I also did a bit of tightening to the front as well. I lowered the front end because it was a little bit understeery. And I think I stiffened it up a little bit also. Also because it's turbocharged, I did play around with the diff a little bit. I just reduced the power ramp and the viscous or vicious lock. I don't know how you want to pronounce it. So I did reduce those a little bit. I think I went 3 or 4 notches on the power ramp, and the viscous lock I think I went 1 or 2 notches downwards on that. And yeah, but most of the work you're going to do is through the suspension, purely because while it does have a front splitter and a rear wing, neither of them are adjustable, so that's what you're going to have to work on. I also tweaked the gearing. I think I went a little bit higher because I wasn't really getting towards the back end, or even getting into 6th gear down the straight, so I did tweak the gearing a little bit. But overall, it was a pretty nice car to drive. Relatively simple. To get it to go relatively quickly, it's quite simple, but to find that extra like 5-10% towards the back end, you really having to push the thing and really having to work. It felt like quite a heavy car as well, so I did have my right elbow feeling a little bit sore this morning as I did the run last night. But yeah, I mean, like, there were a few accidents here and there, obviously, because you were pushing. Ice Cream Cove was one of the culprits because, it's got those very small bumps. You can see how the suspension works going through there, and it's very easy to break traction and have a big accident, as you've just seen. But yeah, so like I said, it's a nice car to drive. It was a very, very fun car to drive. But what we're going to do in a moment is we're going to take a look at the run itself and see how it did. But before we do that, let's just refresh our memory with regards to the current leaderboard. So as you can see, the Jaguar still sticks very firmly on top. The Jaguar from week 10, which my nephew picked, and I don't think the Rocket Bunny is going to challenge that. But I don't know, maybe the Astra from last week. I think the stats-wise they're comparable in terms of the power and the weight and so on, so that could be one. But I think the Skyline at the very minimum in 10th place, I think that's definitely what it should be aiming to beat in the very least. But yeah, guys, so what we're going to do now is we're going to head down to the track and we're going to see how the GT86 Rocket Bunny got on. Okay then, guys, here we go. Toyota GT86 Rocket Bunny Edition on our Azure Coast Hill Climb course, and as we come down to the first corner, we don't exactly get it right here. We're going to run a little bit wide, and we have to get out of the throttle just to get it settled down. You're going to see just how much I saw on the wheel. So while I did do a lot of work on the back end, I still didn't quite get it where I needed to be. You know, I'll do like a very, very planted rear end, and as we come through cruise line corner, that's where I was having the problems with the rear end getting a little bit out of shape into the braking zones. But through traffic trash can corner, it was pretty good. It was a little bit understeered towards the back end of certain corners. Again, that was something I tried to tune out, but again, I think it maybe needs someone who's a little bit better at setups than I am. But as we come down towards the Magic Roundabout, you're going to see we take the bump at over 100 miles an hour, and it just keeps on going. So any car that can do that, it gets my seal of approval. But as we come down towards Stickman Squats now, and again, pretty good through here. It wasn't the best I'd taken it, admittedly. I did feel like it was labouring a little bit, but looking at it now, it wasn't too bad from the looks of it. But onto the Happy Highway, and a chance just to kind of catch your breath, and again, just, you know, figure out how you're going to take the rest of the lap, get yourself settled down again, because the first part of the run, as we know and as you've seen, is very involved. There's a lot of tricky sections, a lot of stuff to think about, but coming over the hump now, we're going to get towards 150 miles an hour as we come down towards Traffic Cone Corner. I've discovered you can take this quite wide, actually. We're going to take a few cones out, and it still won't invalidate the lap, but going through there at over 140 miles an hour, so again, very, very planted through there and through the faster corners. But now as we come down towards Stonewall Corner, again, a little bit of an adjustment there. The back end was getting a little bit out of shape. But it's, again, not too bad down here. You get into third gear, get as tight as you can, but not too tight, because you can catch that little lip, that little edge on that wall, and it can end your run very abruptly. And coming through understeer corner, I braked a little bit early for that, because I do know it has a tendency to understeer through the back end of certain corners, but it wasn't too bad through there. And into Ice Cream Cove now, and again, I had problems through here. It doesn't look it, but it is quite bumpy through here. You do feel that through the wheel, so you do have to be very, very very gentle with your steering input, so you don't lose the rear end, because it can break traction very, very easily, and again, end your run as quick as that. But through Cobra Run, again, I didn't get it quite how I wanted it. Again, we run a little bit wide on the exit here, which means we have to scrub for a little bit too much speed, but again, we make it through with minimal time loss. But into James May Corner now, and again, didn't quite take it how I wanted to. I had to get out of the throttle, because I could feel that back end going away from me a little bit. But coming down towards the end of the sector now, and we get that all wrong. I'd been taking a little bit of grass on the inside, and it'd been absolutely blisteringly quick. But we don't get that quite how we wanted it to. But again, the time loss is minimal. I think that's the most time we've lost. But into Silver Spoon Village now, and I did have a couple of moments through here, especially down this hill. You can get a little bit oversteered, but it wasn't too bad. And through McDanger Corner, no bother through there. Over these little bumps, again, it's just taking it in its stride. Through this right hand out, you're going to see we're going to get quite wide. We take a little bit of that curve, but it just spit us out a little bit. We just about keep it out of the barrier, and we carry on down towards Fraggle Rock Corner. And this car was absolutely brilliant through Fraggle Rock Corner. You see, found the apex brilliantly. Take a little bit of grass on the outside, and away we go again on this long right-hander. It's almost like the corner in at the Turkish circuit, with so many different apexes. But coming down to Bridge Corner now. Again, not quite on the apex. It is a tricky braking zone because it's on a curve, so you've got to be very gentle with your steering inputs and your braking inputs as well, so you don't lose the rear end of the car and have a big accident. But onto the Monga McRae Hill Complex now, and again, this is where this car really excelled, I thought. I'm not quite sure what it was. I was expecting it to be a bit of a tricky section for it, but it was pretty good. I'm not sure if it does in time trial have assists on or just realistic assists, but you know, there wasn't a hint of locking. I did fiddle around with the braking a little bit, again, just to alleviate the problems of having, you know, into braking zones at the rear end. But I can only assume that the ABS and the traction control were active for this run. But taking a bit of grass on the right-hand side there, that does help you cut round the corner. So if you are going to do this run, I highly suggest you do that, because it is going to drag you around that corner. But over the 2 camel humps, so we almost go fully nose down on that one. And through Mirage 1, wasn't too bad. Mirage 2, this one I had to be a little bit more cautious on, because you can run wide and hit that wall on the right hand side, and again that will end your run very, very quickly. But onto the pogo stick straight now. Again, pretty good. I think if we were going faster, it could have been a bit of an issue of us going nose down, but it wasn't too bad through there. And again, take a little bit of grass on the inside. It does labour a little bit once you get into second gear, so if you're going through that corner, I'd highly suggest you try and keep your foot in it as much as possible, just to avoid the turbo winding down and giving you a bit of lag and a bit of a delayed acceleration out of that corner. But coming down towards the Great Ocean Highway, and again, it was absolutely superb through this right-left section here, nearly flat out. Again, through the initial turning, it's very, very pointy, as you're going to see through here, through this right-hander. Again, a little bit of grass on the inside there. It just helps drag the car around, and you're back on the power again, and off you go. And I can tell you now, that was a very surprisingly quick second sector that we just passed through there. I wasn't expecting it to be that quick, and it really did catch me off guard while I was doing it. But again, coming now down towards the tunnel, again, through these longer corners, you see a little bit of understeer towards the back end. We do take a little bit of curve as we come onto the viaduct straight, but down into here, again, not too bad, pretty good, getting it down to third gear for this one. Again, not quite where I wanted to. I did run a little bit too wide, but again, it wasn't too bad. It was pretty good through Deception as we're coming through here now. It wasn't too bad. You'd have to be a little bit cautious on the back end of it, but again, it was very, very good through there. And as we come on to sweeps now, again, it was pretty good through here. I did have a few issues, especially this corner. I did actually bid it into the barrier at one point in one of my previous runs, and it was a pretty good run as well that I was having up until that point. But coming towards the back end of sweeps now, again, pretty good through here. Not quite where I wanted to through that corner or this one. And we're actually going to make a little bit of a movement. We turn it a little bit too tight to this one. We just catch the barrier just a little bit there, and that puts us out of position for this next couple of corners. This longish right-hander especially, as you can see, we have to tippy-toe ourselves around just to keep out of that wall and you know, ruining the run. But coming down onto Rocky Road, and again, pretty good through here. Little lift just to get the car settled, and you're back on the power again. Get up into fifth gear, and then down towards the last big braking zone. Get the nose in. Again, not quite where I wanted to, but it's still good. Get on the power again. Coming down towards the line, it's going to be an absolutely staggering 7 minutes 20 seconds, 0.562. So not only has it beaten the Skyline by 10 seconds, it's also beaten the Astra by 2 seconds. And in my practice runs, I was getting 725, 726s, so I thought maybe when I, you know, start recording and doing my full-blown runs, I could maybe get a 723, but I wasn't expecting a 720.562. And like I said, this came roughly around the halfway point of my time to do runs, so I tried it again. I was getting 724s and 725s, so I don't know. I wouldn't consider myself an alien, but I think I had a little bit of outer space DNA in my system when I was doing this run, because that was absolutely blistering time. So very, very good run there. Unfortunately, it doesn't find a place on our actual leaderboard because it falls into the same category as the Ferrari F50 from a few weeks back. It doesn't get a place on the actual full-blown time trial leaderboards, which is, like I've said before, it just really annoys me the way they've done this. I wish they would change it. I really do. If it did get a time on the leaderboard, as you can see, it would have some pretty illustrious company. We've got a few GT3 cars there. We've actually got a couple of GT1, or more than a couple. We've got 5 GT1 cars. There's a Toyota GT1. There's 4 Mercedes-Benz CLK LMs. So I think that's a very, very respectable time from a GT4 car, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. Popping up on page number 3, I think it is. Is Sorry, page number 5. Sorry, I haven't got my glasses on. I don't normally wear them, but whatever. But yeah, guys, that's the end of today's video. So thank you everybody so much for watching. If you did enjoy this, you would like to see more Project Cars 2 or Hill Climb Monsters or just general racing content from myself, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Also, if you have suggestions on cars you would like to see me take on our Azure Coast Hill Climb, then make sure you leave a comment down below, as I've shown with this video and the last one. If you make a suggestion and I like the sound of it, then I will put it to the test and give it a run there. So make sure you leave a comment down below if there's a car you'd like to see me drive. But again, guys, thank you everybody so much for watching. Take care, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.